my time to shine. Hello, my children. It is I, Father J, and the God of Game has personally sent me, his son, to teach you about the gospel of negging. Riz Layluya. Now, usually I think of my videos as plane rides. I start them high and then I slowly descend them so you get the point over time. But this time we're going to try something different. I'm just going to straight up tell you what negging is up front, which inevitably will leave you fucking confused. Because surprise, surprise, negging, like most things in game, is not a simple concept. But my goal here is that if you hear the definition, you'll be confused enough to want to hear the rest of the video to the end. Yeah, that's right, I'm baiting you, bitch. Alright, here's my personal definition for negging. A neg is one of the secret codes that attractive people communicate with each other with. Yeah, you're nice and confused, ain't you? Yeah. Ha, gotcha, bitch. Alright, let me explain myself in the next few thousand videos. Nah, I'm just messing with you. But I will be elaborating on this, so buckle up. First things first, I'm gonna do what no one else can and what I do best, which is invite you into the Phantom Zone, which is my endless, infinite mind, and introduce you to a brand new way of thinking. In my mind, in the way I see and view the world, there are only 4 quadrants of human beings. Attractive men, of which I am a member of, attractive women, which I am in close contact with, unattractive women, which I am not in close contact with, and unattractive men, of which you are a member of. Quick side note, someone called my diagrams and drawings a little too childish for them. So I went out of my way to make this one even more childish, because fuck you. Fuck you gonna do, bitch. Anyway, I digress. The point I'm trying to make here is you can only exist in one of these 4 quadrants. Obviously, your gender does like half the work for you. The other, though, you get to choose. Because attractiveness is not a look, it is a mindset. But we'll get into that later. Now you might be wondering, why not just lump all attractive people and unattractive people in the same categories? Well, simply put, the different genders have different reproductive strategies and how they go about fulfilling those reproductive strategies. Now I can already hear someone saying, not everything is about reproduction and survival and replication, blah, blah. And it literally is. Like, literally. The more I break this down, the more you'll understand that. But let's keep going. So, here's what you need to know about these quadrants. None of these are set in stone. Especially with today's technology and our ability to now, like, surgically change our gender, it definitely ain't set in stone. If you are determined, consistent, or financially stable enough, you can move from one quadrant to the other as you wish. The thing though is, everyone wants to move up into and stay in these top 2 quadrants because the benefits and advantages that await you if you can move up there are just immense. And for those who, for whatever reason, lack the mobility or just creativity and discipline to move into the upper quadrants, they will be more than happy to gain and court the attention of someone who is a member of the top 2 quadrants for themselves. That would be ideal for them. That is also highly unlikely. Because the people at the top quadrants, they're very fucking snubby. And yes, even the ones that used to be members of the bottom 2 quadrants. In fact, let me use an analogy to explain this shit, because this is how I really see it in my mind. Think about all attractive people as being in a cult of sorts. In a very tight-knit, very ancient, very secret cult. Every year these attractive ones get together and do cult shit. They have parties, dance around, exchange gossip, the whole 9 yards. Except here's how it works though. Throughout that annual secret attractive people cult party, everyone has a mask on. So no one actually knows who the identity of the other members of the cult are. Which means outside of the actual physical location they're having this little cult party at, they wouldn't in a million years be able to identify and converse with each other in the real world. Unless through the scripts and codes of this attractiveness cult. Attractive people in this attractive people cult communicate with each other in the outside world through these scripts and codes. They all have their own little copy of a attractiveness black handbook or some shit like that. But again, you can't even get your hands on one of these secret black books until and unless you give up the right codes. You see how tricky this is now? Like, how the fuck are you gonna be able to join the crew if you aren't already a member of the crew? because you're pretty much forced to already know what full-fledged members already know for you to be able to get in. So how do you get in? Well, isn't that obvious? You do the same thing we all did to get in. You steal the fucking codes, nigga. No, I'm not even joking. I'm being dead ass right now. Okay, hold on. I'm still talking in analogy form. Let me put it all together for you. Attractive people have a way they communicate with each other. Attractive people know this. Everybody else doesn't. And if you don't know this, you are by definition not attractive. A little simplistic, I'm aware, but hear me out. Every time you communicate with a girl and it feels like whatever interest she had in you has just completely evaporated, rest assured, the reason is because you have not spoken the same code as her. And this is especially true for the hottest women on earth. I cannot stress this enough. The reason I came up with this diagram and the cult analogy is because I wanted to really communicate this one fact to you. Attractive women and average women live on two entirely different planets. And so the way you must communicate with each of those groups are going to be entirely different if you want to achieve success with your communication. The same scripts and codes that work for women in this quadrant will not work for women in this quadrant at all, and vice versa. I'm sorry, I don't make the fucking rules. Don't bite my head off. And that's an important piece of information to know because the exact same principle works with the male quadrants. What takes women from here to here is mostly physical. Whereas what takes men from here to here is not just physical, it's also mostly psychological. So when a woman undergoes some major physical augmentations, she's said to be more attractive. But for men, it has more to do with your power and status and your ability to project that in a cool, calm, and charming way. Now, don't get it twisted. Your physical appearance does have something to do with your ability to project your power and status. I have an entire guide about this called Power Projection 101. But for the most part, a woman's physical body and her ability to improve that is directly proportional to our power, our status, our experience, our game. Okay, we got all that? Good. Here's why that's important. Don't forget, we started out talking about this from a negging point of view. And like I said before, negging is one of the many different codes and scripts that attractive people use to communicate with each other outside of the attractive people call party. Negging is probably one of the most powerful and subtle ways to demonstrate to an attractive person within your vicinity that you are a part of their tribe. Now, pay attention to what I just said. I said one of for a reason. Because negging in itself is just one of 4 different codes and scripts that you can learn from the handbook. Or more specifically, negging falls under one of the 4 major vehicles that can be used to convey these scripts and codes. Okay, this might be the part you might want to write down, pay close attention. According to the handbook, last I checked, there are 4 major vehicles that are used to convey these scripts and codes. Let's discuss each of them one by one. The first won't surprise you at all. It's body language. You've probably already known this your entire life, but you haven't paid close attention to it. But there is a way attractive people move, especially attractive men. Attractiveness in men mainly comes down to your power, status, and authority. Any bit of body language or movement that allows you to convey that authority and status and power becomes a very good indicator of attractiveness. They can range from anything from the way you use your hands when you speak, how strong your eye contact is while you speak, how calm and relaxed you are, especially in the midst of chaos, or even your little tics and habits like how you adjust your collar, how you adjust your tie, rolling up your sleeve, or touching your cufflinks. It's such a powerful way of conveying attractiveness because it's not something that can easily be faked. You'd either have to have gone through thousands of hours of conscious practice or being genuinely put in ideal situations for you to learn the behavioral cues of high value, high status individuals. Unfortunately, most people have been trained to have the worst kind of behavioral cues. Literally, most things most men do on a minute level convey unattractiveness. Why you'll be sussed out by those that are in the attractive gang. The next vehicle is exclusivity. This one is going to hurt a lot of people. Allow me to tell you a secret directly from the handbook. Attractive people, people in the attractive cult, are not inclusive people at all. Hell, why do you think I'm using this cult analogy? Attractive people are standoffish, snobby, and elitist individuals. The moment you start talking all that inclusivity nonsense, you have ousted yourself as not a part of the cult. All that shit about inclusivity and body positivity and all people are beautiful nonsense, yeah, that doesn't exist in these quadrants right here. In fact, in my personal experience, and this might surprise some of you, literally all the most attractive women I know are some of the most elitist, snobby, and fat phobic bitches I've ever met. Emphasis on fat phobic, by the way. That is a common theme among them. Which, by the way, leads me into a very useful side note. Remember what I told you in the beginning of all this. What separates people in this quadrant from people in this quadrant, aka the unattractive people from attractive people, is primarily mindset, nothing else. Attractiveness is not really a look or an aesthetic. Attractiveness is a paradigm and a way of thinking. It's a mindset. Which means it's very possible to meet people that are very physically attractive who are not in the attractiveness quadrants. Despite being physically attractive, they're not in the cult. Let me explain. There are women out there that I like to refer to as Kylie Jenner bitches. And no, I'm not necessarily just talking about any woman that undergoes plastic surgery. But I have personally come to find most of the time it is these women. And basically, in my mind, it's the women that go from the unattractive women quadrant to the attractive women quadrant a little too quickly. And only in a physical manner. Because remember what I told you, attractiveness isn't just a look, it is primarily a mindset. So these women have gone through the physical transformation to make themselves more aesthetically and sexually appealing without going through the proper process of allowing their mind and mindset to catch up. Basically, an attractive woman that still acts and believes unattractively. It's very frustrating. Now, I'm telling you all this not to make fun of these women, but to understand that the difference is going to be very clear between the two. As attractive as they may equally be, you are literally dealing with two different kinds of women. One type of woman is a member of the attractive people cult, and the other is not. And once you understand this, breaking down a woman's blueprint becomes very easy to do. Because you'll begin to notice one type of woman is a lot more inclusive and open in her behavior than the other. I'm going to say it again. Women that are members of the cult are not inclusive and open people. They are snobby and elitist, which means they're also going to be very cognizant of who they have around them. They also have real confidence, not a fake one. Hold on, let me give you a few techniques to like troubleshoot which kind of girl you're dealing with, okay? Girls up here only hang out with other girls like them. Girls down here have lesser, uglier, fatter friends. It makes them feel better about themselves, and because they're the prettiest one in the group, it makes them the automatic leader. No competition. Girls up here, fat phobic. You heard it from me. Girls down here, all bodies are beautiful. Girls up here, snobby and elitist, especially in the initial few seconds of the approach. Girls down here, very open and friendly, which means everyone has access to them. Girls up here will do anything and pay any amount of time, effort, or money to be in the exclusive club. Girls down here want to mingle with the commoners. It makes them feel like Mother Teresa. So basically, there's Equinox bitches and there's Planet Fitness bitches. Do with that information what you will. And be warned, you cannot get an Equinox level bitch if you're still okay with doing Planet Fitness level shit. You understand what I'm saying? So if you want high quality women in your life consistently, you can't be out here doing Derek Jackson level shit. You have to be discriminatory and exclusive. Real talk. No, not all women are beautiful. No, not everyone is invited to the party. Having strong, firm boundaries like that makes women, especially those really beautiful ones, feel safer and more protected around you because they know that they're not dealing with a guy that lets just anyone in. I'm going to keep harping on it till you understand. Beautiful women do not want men who are attainable by other women that are less than them. Keep your attractiveness high and your attainability low. That is the code. The next vehicle of conveying attractiveness scripts and codes is honesty. I keep telling people all the time, the one major indicator that you are truly attractive and you can attract attractive women to you is your ability to be brutally and completely honest. Every man you know that attracts high quality women to themselves has that major trait: complete and utter honesty. In fact, you can say the opposite is true. Any man that makes it a habit of lying, especially by betraying his own masculine instincts and primal needs, is capped at a certain kind and quality of women. I mean, no offense to the guy, but we've all seen his wife and her helmet of salvation. Beautiful women are helplessly attracted to honesty in a man, no matter how brutal it may be, like moths to a light. Men who have the balls to come out and speak their mind from their perspective without diluting it and without fear of consequence are few and far between, especially in our very politically correct world today. It really isn't hard to come out and just lie, dude. It's not. Especially when that lie involves what you are as a man, people will literally cheer you on. And by people, I mean people in the bottom quadrants, the unattractives. Ugh. I said it a long time in a video that I don't think it's possible for any man to be a feminist. And the video wasn't received well, but I said what the fuck I said. And I said it precisely for this reason. I'm in this quadrant right here. I don't need to lie. I'm a man. As much as I do go out of my way to study because this is part of my job, how could I ever truly understand what it's like to be a woman? And because I don't understand what it's like to be a woman, why the fuck would I care more than they do? You see my point? Basically, male feminists are liars. They're all liars. And men go out of their way to lie to both themselves and women for one major reason. Because they have to. They have no other hope of garnering attention otherwise. Which is why my ass, who is in this quadrant over here, feels free and can say whatever the fuck I want whenever I want. Because, again, you probably wouldn't know this because you're not here, but it doesn't affect my ability to attract high quality women. And that's something a lot of guys out here don't seem to understand. It's why high quality women don't trust the nice guy. Because he'll go out of his way to lie even about himself just to get her favors. Tell me, how in the fuck can that guy be trusted? Women are biologically inclined, for their own safety, to trust the man who is honest. And the way they can identify the man who is honest is very simple. It's the man saying the things they don't like to hear. That's what honesty really comes down to. Now, one thing that naturally happens when you choose to be an honest person is you naturally break rapport, which is where negging comes in. Negs, disqualifiers, teasing, all that is just a form of breaking rapport. And while interacting with women, you'll naturally come to points of contention and disagreement. This is natural. There really is no such thing as A to Z smooth interaction with a woman. There will always be some form of resistance or conflict. It'll naturally happen. Some bigger in degree than others, but they will exist nonetheless. And they should be handled in a nonchalant, playful, and charming manner. Which is why we emphasize teaching stuff like negging, disqualifiers, and teasing correctly. Because a break in the rapport is not the end of the interaction, not if you don't choose it to be. A neg in its purest form is one of the most honest ways you can communicate with a woman. Because if you think about it, negging is something you naturally do to people that you love and trust. I like to define a neg as anything you do or say around a woman that forces her to personally take account of herself. That is to say, something or anything that forces her to stop in her tracks and look inwards instead of worrying about you. It can be anything as overt as telling her that her eyebrows look crooked, again in a charming and playful way, or asking her to check to see if you have any bears in the cave. Excuse me, miss, I just wanted to ask you something real quick. Do you see anything? Okay, extreme example, but you get the point. Contrary to popular belief, the primary goal of negging is not making the woman feel insecure. It's actually getting her to see you as someone she can feel comfortable around. It's a great way to break the proverbial fourth wall of conversation. It just so happens that sometimes the best way to do that is to make her feel just a little bit self-conscious. Ooh, here's a stick of gum. You can have it. A gift from me to you. And if you're wondering why I have a stick of gum, it's because I suffered the same fate, unfortunately. We should kiss. And in one fell swoop, you've made her feel both conscious of herself and comfortable around you. Congratulations. While she's talking, you can go like this. And your dog when you were growing. Oh, hold on. Do this. Do this. Okay, good. You got it. It's gone. All right, continue. What were you saying about your dog? And just like that, she's mirroring and matching your moves. And is also a little bit grateful that you helped her with whatever's on her face, even though there might have been nothing on her face. You know I was going to call you the most beautiful girl I've ever seen, but you decided to walk out of your house today with Crocs, huh? You thought that was a good idea? Really? And then just after she laughs, you can go, look, the Crocs are a turnoff, but so far that's just one strike, so I'll give you a chance to recover, okay? And just like that, she's playfully earned favor in your eyes. Congratulations, now you hold control of the frame. The fourth and by far most important vehicle for conveying the attractiveness scripts and codes is storytelling. And to be frank with you, storytelling is top 3 one of the most important skills you will ever learn in your life. Not only is storytelling being the major tool we have used as human beings to pass down knowledge, experience, and wisdom to the next generation, but it is the primary means of communication for high status individuals. If you really sit down to think about it, the art of conveying ideas to other people and communicating effectively is actually very complex. You have to take thoughts, ideas, feelings, pictures, and videos from your head and take them through a process of converting them into language. Then throw that language at the other person and hope to God that by the time that they convert all that language into usable thoughts, ideas, emotions, feelings in their heads, it's the same ideas you had in your head to begin with. Which, spoiler alert, it almost never is. Storytelling is effectively your ability to make this entire process a lot less complex. And the best storytellers are also said to be some of the greatest communicators of our time. Because within the skill set of storytelling, all the tiny little skills you'll need to be a good storyteller force you to become a more well-rounded individual. From the physical skills like pronunciation, enunciation, emphasis, and tonality, to the abstracts like pauses, timing, and unconscious animation. Being good at telling stories is a great way to show competence at a high level. Hell, if you really think about it, all social media is storytelling on steroids, especially TikTok. I was telling someone the other day, the only way to hit the For You page as often as you want to with videos longer than a minute on TikTok is through telling stories. Don't believe me? Go check out my page. All my biggest videos are stories. Almost every new feature that comes out on TikTok is designed to help people tell better stories. Same with trends, honestly. Okay, I think I've made my point about how important storytelling is. Storytelling is the lingua franca of the people in the attractiveness cult. If you learn no other vehicles for the scripts and codes of this cult, learn storytelling. It is by far the most powerful vehicle there is. But it's also the one with the highest barrier for entry by far, so be warned. It takes years and years of constant, consistent, conscious training to be good at storytelling. And the major reason it takes that long is not because it's hard to learn the fundamentals of it, but it takes a while usually for you to come into your own unique style of storytelling. And it also heavily depends on what you prioritize during your storytelling. Storytelling, especially when it comes to attraction building, is used primarily as a way to convey attractiveness and value without being obvious about it. Storytelling, in most cases, is the key to serendipity. In your young naivete, you might be tempted to believe that you have to show her how cool you are. Storytelling is a vehicle you can use to allow her to find out how cool you are without being obvious about it.